So some of the things that we're going to need is a bucket big enough to put the bugle in. I've already put hot water in this one, well, warm water, and some washing up liquid, antibacterial, and that bugle's been in there for about 5 minutes soaking and letting the water get in to the bugle completely. Some of the things that we're going to be needing, well, first of all, the antibacterial washing up liquid. We've got a number of brushes, all different size bores, so small one, a larger bore brush, and then we have a brush then on both sides of this wire. We'll show you exactly how to use that a little bit later on. I have a drying cloth to dry the bugle off afterwards, and then I have a silver cloth, which is what I buff my bugle up with once all the cleaning's been done. So as I mentioned earlier, the bugle's been soaking in here for a good 5 minutes, letting the water get into the bugle and the mouthpiece, of course. So we need to clean the mouthpiece, get the brush, both ends, give it a good clean, good scrub. You'll be surprised how much gunk actually comes out of there. And of course we need to go in both sides, giving it a thorough clean, make sure we get all that nice and clean, dispelling any germs. Once that's done, just lay it to one side and we'll play with that a little bit later. Again, the tuning shank, that come out, and this time I use a bigger size bore brush. Again, give it a good clean, coming through both sides, making sure everything's nice and clean. Again, we'll place that off to one side. We can also do the brush into where the tuning shank goes. So a good clean, get as far in there as we can, giving it a good scrub. So once we've done that, then we're going to use the wire with the two brushes on the end. Now the way we use this is we need to get as much of this wire into the bugle without using too much force, because what we don't want to do is to get it stuck. So make sure your bugle's full of plenty of water, the brushes are wet, and then push it in nice and steady. We don't want to get this stuck in here. So push it till you get some resistance and then work it backwards and forwards. Push it in a little bit further, a little bit of resistance, push it backwards and forwards. All we're doing is cleaning off all the gunk inside. A little bit more in there, backwards and forwards again. And again, pushing it forward. Just make sure it does move freely. What we don't want is it getting stuck, like we've already said. Until eventually we get most of this wire fed all the way through, backwards and forwards. Main thing is take it nice and steady, nice and progressive, and get it cleaned. As you can see, coming out of there, give it a good soak through again, flush some water through it. You can try going from the other side. Again, pushing it as far as you can, pushing it in and out a few times, push it in a little bit further. What we're trying to do is get all the tubing cleaned in that bugle. Okay, so we want to be doing this at least once a week. And if you've got a cold, chest infection, anything like that, then it does help kill all the germs and stop the possibility of it all being passed back onto you through the bugle. So once we've done that, all we're going to do then is keep turning the bugle. What we're trying to do now is get as much water out of that bugle as possible. So it needs turning a good few times. Let all the water get out of there. And like I say, it does take a while to get all the water out of there. So nice and steady as you go. I think we've got about the last of it now. What we're going to do now is we're going to use the drying cloth that I mentioned earlier. A lint-free one is the best one to use. We don't want bits of cloth stuck all over your bugle. Give it a good dry out. And again with the tuning shank, give it a good clean. Now you can put a little bit of grease on that if you wish before you put it in. I don't do that. I like to keep it a nice firm fit. And then again with the mouthpiece, good clean. And fit it back in. Now what I do then to buff the bugle up is I use a silver cloth. Couple of quid off the internet. You can get them from shops in town once the restrictions are over, and then just give it a nice buff up, make it nice and shiny. But the main effort is to kill the germs. It's not to make it look nice and shiny, although it does look better when it's all polished. Getting inside there as well. And there you can see we have a nice clean bugle, and it's germ free inside now for another week. Blow away and then repeat again next week.